So I knew that there, I had a gut reaction to Bitcoin, to crypto. I've made associations with market value and a person's worth and the stock market and overinflated values and all that stuff. And yeah, I mean, when we're going to the doctors to get nipped and tucked and all this stuff with the eventuality of death, it is an overinflated value that will eventually crash. And so that's why the government comes in and intervenes, because some people will overinflate their own value and try to take advantage of the people out there through very aggressive, deceptive marketing practices. And and so that also happens with the stock market, though the government does allow a certain amount of criminal activity to happen, such as insider trading. And then eventually, it does come out in the wash. But yeah, food is intelligence. Energy without substance is nothing more than a virtual image of perceived intelligence. And then substance without energy is then nothing more than a zombie, a person who is a vessel waiting to be filled with purpose, but not their own purpose, somebody else's purpose. That's why the balance of ionic and covalent bonding can be completely compared to the balance of the market. And so when I look at this crypto stuff and someone tried to compare jelly juice with crypto, I had a major gut reaction, but I could not articulate it because there were things yet I had to discover as far as intelligence, as far as the sugar and the proteins. Okay, so when you starve yourself of meat, milk, soy, sugar, and salt, and all of that, there's no substance behind you. You actually lack intelligence. And that's why you see so many different people at different levels of de-evolution, because there are so many blocks in their biophysical communication that they can't possibly have anything innovative to think or say, or have any kind of, new thought process, or potentially even take in new information, because they lack that capacity. They lack that emotional intelligence, or lack that intelligence, not even emotional intelligence. They lack that intelligence because they can't process certain intelligent nutrients that will give them the added different perspective. And so it struck a chord in me when people are telling me that they're on plant-based diets, they're trying to now do a bunch of exercises and do jelly juice. And they love that added extra energy, but they are wasting away. And so energy without substance is nothing more than just energy with really nothing behind it that's really tangible. That's what the speculative market is perceived value. That's the spells and the curses that are upon humanity, is the perceived value. And of course, social media and the internet compound that and enhance it in such a way where it becomes even more so. And so that's why the crypto world is so huge, because it is about perceived value, speculative value that will eventually crash because there's nothing behind it. And then when you measure how many watts it takes to mine one crypto, takes 10 minutes plus a certain amount of terawatts and gigawatts and whatever, how much energy are you going to be using in any one area with the servers to mine that many cryptos? And so when a person, has cancer, there's so much energy in that one area that it takes up all the resources in that area. Eventually, the person's going to crash because they don't have time to balance out that energy source that's being taken. There's not enough actually going into that environment to balance out that many photonic energy joules or whatever. So when you actually convert all the money in the world to photons, that's a lot of energy. that is going to usurp an environment of which the government has to go in and basically regulate it. I mean, we're all about trying to find free energy, right? Everyone's like, oh yeah, JP Morgan and all that, they're trying to monopolize the market. But I'm telling you, when you allow somebody to go in and just take so much energy and have it be in one area, and you're sitting on a pile of dough that does nothing but take up resources, whether it's all of your toys or all of your clothes or all of your material goods that do nothing more than take up energy and use up energy, but you're doing nothing to give back. That's why the government's coming down on people, because people are taking advantage of the access to energy and they're doing nothing to give back. There's nothing substantial behind all that energy. It's just being consumed, consumed, consumed. That's what consumerism is. That's when people are chasing wealth without really earning it, because they're not really putting anything substantial behind it. They're not giving back to the environment. They're not giving back to the people out there. They're just taking and that's parasitic energy, is when you are working the speculative market. That's what Wall Street is. It's parasiticism. And so, yes, eventually there's going to have to be a balance. And so the government comes in and says, okay, you are being too much of a parasite. And that's why they are giving money to people to take money out of these exploitative industries like the restaurant industry and saying, okay, we're going to make you level up and invest in your community, invest in your resources that's going to give you some kind of return. And so it's very interesting watching politics, religion, and science, as well as the market, confirm everything that I know about the world. And so, yeah, I could tell those that are chasing wealth, that don't want to earn it. I can tell those that are just have the dollar signs in their eyes, but they're not willing to actually put anything substantial behind what they say, what they do. Some will, will try to, and I understand that. But this is the main thing about J Juice, is checking your greed, checking your consumerism, checking your parasitic energy. And that's why I put a lot of boundaries when it comes to private messenger, when it comes to asking a bunch of questions, when it comes to sharing stuff that is just taking energy out of my group or taking energy out of the people in my group. I watch all of that. I don't want any one person usurping the energy in my world or in anyone else's world. We have to have a balance of give and take. And so now I can finally articulate and use actual real world examples like ionic and covalent. That's what image is. Image is electrical impulses, matters, acids, and gases. And then the acids are the substantiation, the substantial intelligence, when it's actually in a solidified form that has intelligence. Okay? You take away the actual body and you're just a floating piece of energy, like those that people believe people should die. You lack intelligence. Now you're just a virtual image that can create any kind of reality with nothing behind it. That's what the market is. That's what the stock market is. That's what Wall Street is. It's basically a shape-shifting, morphine type of energy, a virtual reality. And then people, their greed, they know that they're impoverished, and an impoverished person will gamble their life away. They will gamble their body away. They'll give their body to science. They will believe in all the perceived illusions of a longevity. Oh, if I do this chemotherapy and cannabis and whatever, it's going to buy me, like, who knows what people are thinking. And so, yeah, when someone buys something like chemotherapy and cannabis as a method of a cure, a curse, or a remedy, and they've aged like 10 years biochemically, they've just been had. And so Jilly Juicing can take us back to where we actually had gold backing the dollar. Yeah, the US dollar is speculative too. But I trust that more than I trust the freaking cryptocurrency. I trust the US dollar more than I trust all the cryptocurrency out there in the world because it's perceived value. Yeah, the US market's perceived value, but we do have still the GDP and all the different products and services, and I still have my intelligence to produce something substantial, whether it's an idea or a book or putting words together that will manifest in behaviors, that will manifest in something like a tangible product. But you can't do that with cryptocurrency. That just takes and takes. Okay, so you can spend. So what does cryptocurrency do? It just adds more spending. You're buying something that's going to add more taxing of energy in that area. So you have, what is it? 50 photons is like a lot of photons, right? So it takes 50 photons to make a Bitcoin, and then using Bitcoin to buy a car that's going to take 5,000 million photons. So that's 5,500 photons that has completely destroyed this one area of Earth. Imagine times that by 7 billion people who are buying cars with Bitcoin, and you have to have the factories in the areas to make these damn cars, and the Bitcoin is going to cause, it's just no different than a factory of freaking money. Like with paper, it may have less energy, but paper you can't really trace, and so there's always the money laundering and the RICO and the racketeering that happened back in the mafia days, and that's why they're switching everything to digital, because the government wants to track. Gone are the days where you sit on a pile of cash under your mattress, though that does probably still happen, but they're stopping that pretty quick. But they're going to have to find a way to regulate the energy usage out of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. Digital doesn't mean it's free. Doesn't mean that it just kind of matures out of thin air. It uses energy. Currency is energy. Just doing salt and not food, you're going to basically energize yourself out of existence. Jilly juice is not just salt. But that's what those, even in the Jilly Juice world, think that Jilly Juice is just salt. No, Jilly Juice actually has substantial, intelligent backing behind it. But you have to eat food and do Jilly Juice and simultaneously and put your mind to things that are going to enhance and, develop your intelligence, or else Jilly Juice is just going to reflect back what you put into it. You half-ass Jilly Juice in the food supply, you're going to get a half-ass, rate of intelligence coming right out of you. I'm telling you, there's a lot of interesting philosophy behind Jilly Juice and the food supply. And that's why there's no diet. And so I could physically see what Jilly Juice can do when a person doesn't have enough food behind them, because I lost a lot of weight in the beginning because I was mitigating meat, milk, and all the different carbs. And so I wasted away almost nothing. And then I said, okay, time to start eating. And guess what? The intelligence, the longevity, the reversing of all my issues, the innovation, the food supply gives you the innovation. The Jilly Juice gives you the energy. You got to have those balanced out correctly, or else you're just one big virtual image. It's some pretty interesting stuff here, I tell you what. And so no one should be comparing Jilly Juice with Bitcoin. Absolutely freaking not. And I would be insulted if anyone writes an article about Jilly Juice and comparing it to Bitcoin, because that would actually misrepresent Jilly Juice on such a level, because we're not speculative, we're not gambling. We are actually a substantial, intelligent, substantial person that will acquire skills and other innovation to actually give back to our community. But those that want to get rich quick, those that have freaking dollar signs in their eyes, and they can't help but be like, oh God. I tell you what, a lot of people were coming after Jilly Juice thinking that it was going to be a moneymaker for them. And then when they find out that Jilly Juice is not a money-making scheme, because that's not what we're about, then they started getting nasty with me. They were trying to stop me from saying stuff because, oh no, you have to stop giving away Jilly Juice because you can't make money off of that, Jillian, if you give away this information. I had to fight people in my world who wanted me to keep a lot of stuff to myself. I'm like, oh hell no. I don't need to I wanted to sell my book, yes, and I'm tired of freaking saying the same thing over and over again. So buy the book because I'm tired of using up my energy to repeat the same stuff. But then it went even further where some people in my world wanted me to shut the hell up because they want to put it all in the book and have them buy the book, don't say anything at all. And then you charge through YouTube or something else to have someone pay for this information. And so when I didn't really agree to that, and I took Jilly Juice from pink salt to white salt, then people start seeing the dollar signs disappear. Yeah, because now it's raw fucking talent. If you don't have raw freaking talent, then you're basically parasiting off of somebody else. And that's what the market does, is it teaches people how to parasite off their friends, how to parasite off their family, how to parasite off their community. And no one's really giving anything substantial. They're just taking and taking and taking. And guess what? The government's going like, we're done with you takers. We're done with you parasites. Time to earn your fucking keep. So we'll give you a bunch of money and you either evolve yourself or you'll destroy yourself. And so I get it. Here, take the $15, take $1,000, homeless person. We'll see what you can do with that. Oh, they'll go get their alcohol, their drugs, their cigarettes, which aren't bad. But they'll go get all the things that basically are making them suffer. And they will eventually either evolve themselves to such a level or they'll destroy the crap out of themselves. Absolutely. But it's not just the salt, cabbage, and kale. It's the food supply. You can't just focus on just the Jilly Juice, Patricia. It must be the fast food, the meat, the milk, the fats, the sugar, the salt, everything that's in the food. That's all intelligence. Jilly Juice is just one half of the equation. What's missing with people is the other half, which is the food supply. And then they're depriving themselves of food, and so they're just basically energy with nothing behind them. And that's what we want you guys to understand. It's not just the Jilly Juice, it's the food supply. It's the full freaking package. That's the evolution of the Jilly Juice protocols. We're not just energy sources and that's it, because you don't want to be just a floating piece of energy with nothing intelligent behind you. The food supply and the fat and the muscle is the intelligence. The food is the intelligence. And so you have to now bring in Jilly Juice plus all food, no discrimination. Or else you'll be one of those that will do Jilly Juice and exercise and hardly eat any food, and you'll be next to nothing. And so when a big virus comes in and basically knocks out half the town, you'll be one of them because you won't have the substantial justification, the absorption to be able to handle that evolution. And so there's two sides to Jilly Juice. There is the ionic and the covalent bonding. There's the energy and there's the intelligence, and vice versa. People either eat too much and they're overly intelligent in one area, which then makes them very unbalanced. Yes, they're smart, but they're still an overinflated market price, and then they're going to crash in the next 10, 15 years because all that pressure on their vital organs, they won't last very long. And then some people who don't have enough on their body because they are just pure energy, but nothing to them. There's no fat, no muscle, hardly any meat. They're overinflated as well because there's nothing to them. And they will also crash. And so it's about balancing both the ionic and the covalent and understanding that, and that translates to the market. That translates to all your investments. I got caught up in the dollar signs of Inovio and the vaccines. Oh, yeah. But I had to play the market to see how that worked. Oh, it's so manipulated. It's so unreal. The market is manipulated by those that are organized and by those that have a shiz ton of money that are able to buy a bunch and overinflate it and then basically sell off just like that. Short it. And I see that with the Inovio. That freaking stock, I watch it every single day since I bought it, which is last year. And it was up and it's down and it was never, I think the highest it went was $20. And I was like, oh my God, I went to $20. And I bought it at 14. And then from that point forward, it went down and it stayed at $6. So somebody inflated it, got everybody to go put money into it, and then someone shorted the crap out of it. And that's what happens in the market. People get all starry-eyed with oh, I'm going to get rich. So they put all their money into it, like all their everything, thinking that they're going to be like, an instant millionaire tomorrow. And then guess what? The government or a hacker or someone just shorts the crap. It just took everybody's money. And so now you have to start relying on yourself as a sure thing. That's the whole moral at the end of the day is you invest in you. And if you can't invest in yourself, then what the hell, how can you trust anyone else if you can't even trust yourself? And that's the moral of the story is J-Juice, is you either be able to produce raw talent on your own or you're going to take from somebody else. And that's why there's a lot of people with a lot of friends because they can't do things on their own. So they have to have 60 million friends out there to do everything for them. And then they all feed on each other and they all basically take each other out of existence. When a person can stand on their own and need very little help from people, I basically need very little help from people. My husband and I have an arrangement and we also have companionship. And we figured out the division of labor. I don't take any more than what I put in, and I am very respectful of what he produces. I measure every single thing that I take from this relationship, whether it's food, whether it's with my dog. I don't go on spending sprees. I don't have the things that I did, like going to Portugal, that was paid for by the person that was presenting or running that thing. When I bought all my computers and bought stuff for even my mods and I invested back in my book, a few people invested, which I paid back, and the rest I've done on myself. Either I sold my car the first time and that didn't come out very well. Someone invested in me in the second time, and then someone tried to invest in the third time and paid them back because that was done with. But for the most part, all of my Jilly Juice ventures have been basically paid for by me, not my husband. And then Patricia goes, update, I gained weight because I learned from you 5 years ago. I was a bit skinny with a neck injury, but I fixed that. You're welcome. Okay, so I'm very cognizant of what I take from my husband. I mean, I know we're married, but I know that he works, he is out there on the road every single day doing labor-intensive work. If he wants a boat, if he wants this, if he wants that, I don't really have no qualms as long as I'm not in the poorhouse. And I'm very, very cognizant of what, because I understand it. When people work their ass off, they don't want to give it away to other people. But you also live in a community. But when you're with somebody and they're basically paying all the bills for the most part, I contribute maybe quarterly when I get paid or I reinvest back in my company. But they want some kind of return on that investment because he's using his body to produce money. He's not, we're not gambling. We don't gamble. He doesn't, well, gambling, right nowadays, gambling is like where you hope that you don't have your predispositions come in at inopportune times. Right now, everybody's gambling that's not doing J-Juice because they don't know when their predispositions are going to come to surface. But, he's relying on his physical being. He's not a day trader. He's not a white-collar criminal that is really good with word wizardry to create an illusion. So then all the blue-collar people are like, oh, this looks great. There's a reason why I'm here in Ohio. I got tired of the California fakery shit. Excuse my language, but I mean, at some point, there's got to be some kind of groundedness. There's so many illusions in California, it's unreal. And then I realized that everything is an illusion. And so the only thing that's substantial is you and your abilities. And if you can't even trust you and your abilities and you're basically an illusion yourself, then yeah, you're going to live that very overinflated lifestyle, overinflated everything. And then when it all comes crashing down, you're going to be like, oh my God, why does this happen to me? Well, the signs and the indicators were there. You just ignore them because you were in your starry-eyed, illusions. The land of illusion. Well, eventually reality does come crashing down at times that you're not prepared for. And that's when people get caught up unaware and then they have a GoFundMe account. Oh, I need a GoFundMe account so you can pay, so the public can pay for the things that you never anticipated because you were too starry-eyed and too in your land of illusions. And you see it all over Facebook. GoFundMe, 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 GoFundMe. Why the fuck would we go fund you? Why don't you fund yourself? Oh, wait, no, you were too much in your illusions. You're going to get rich tomorrow. That's the crap that we deal with in our society, which is why we have this reset. So here, let's give you all the 5G and let's give you $1,000 and $300 and you can destroy yourself or evolve yourself. One of the two. You put so much energy into something that people believe in, they will destroy themselves or they will evolve themselves. Most likely people will destroy themselves with that much access. And it happens. Oh yeah, we're going to be opening up pretty soon in Ohio and everyone's going to go maskless. They're all going to hang out together in full capacity restaurants. Oh, it's going to be interesting. Because there's so much energy with the virus, with the 5G, with all the mutations, with the therapeutics. Oh, I'm telling you, this is exponential energy that's going to be aging the crap out of people if they don't figure out how to absorb that energy and convert it in a way that is a benefit to them. But I'm just warning you guys, unlike what is it? The British are coming, Paul Revere. You can ignore Paul Revere and be caught unaware, or you can sort of listen to me and be like, oh, I see that. You don't have to tell me that you're listening to me. Just make changes to help you. So that way you're not caught up with a freaking GoFundMe account wanting someone to fund a funeral or fund your cancer treatment or fund whatever else that you were not listening to the indicators. At some point, you got to take accountability for yourself. But hey, that doesn't really come easy in this society because everyone is overly inflated with their illusions. So I know I sound like a freaking self-righteous whatever, but I get now what's going on. And the food supply intelligence, and that Julie is nothing like Bitcoin. We are actually substantial, and we are actually, we are dependent upon raw freaking talent, raw intelligence, raw talent. We're not trying to be parasitic of other people. And that's truly what Jilly Juice is about. It is dependent upon the raw resources in you. And then you are then very empathetic to your environment, to the people you're around. You don't take shit for granted. And you set your kids up correctly so they have at least a foundation to work from. That's all, as I want to give the kids the best foot forward because I know what it's like to suffer. I was a kid once and I was suffering so many days of my life, whether it's through PMDD or not fitting in, or I didn't have a lot of friends because I was really independent. I had to be. When you have a lot of friends, it shows that you really lack independence and you need those that because you haven't produced that intelligence of yourself. So you need this other person to be that intelligent part of you because you lack intelligence in some aspect of yourself. When people have less friends, it's because they really know they have a lot more intelligence, that they don't need too many people around them to tell them what to do or what to say or be that thing. So, anyways, but that's the psychology around people who have a lot of friends and the people who don't have a lot of friends. The ones that don't have a lot of friends, they're very, very independent because they had to be. And so they had to exercise the parts in their that weren't very evolved. They had to evolve it themselves. They didn't have somebody else to go and just basically give them the intelligence. My husband, I would say, would be what we call a best friend because we keep each other. I keep him alive. He keeps me alive. We both keep each other alive. It's a quid pro quo relationship, very equal. And it took us a while to get there. Okay, it wasn't like we came into this like this. No, we had some moments. But ultimately, he knew that I had enough intelligence to carry him through. He had enough, manual intelligence to carry me through. And I had enough office skills to write resumes, to make it sound beautiful, which, every resume. You're welcome, Nicole. Welcome to my world. but we knew how to work with each other's strengths and weaknesses. Now, could I be on my own today? I'm sure I could. Do I want to be? No, I like having my husband and my dog. They can be annoying. I could be annoying to him, but ultimately at the end of the day, we do ground each other. And then Nicole goes, I'm new to the page. I've been watching you YouTube videos. Thank you. Oh, you're welcome. We got to give hope back to humanity because humanity has been just suffering for eons. And thank God for the New World Order because they are giving us the energy to either destroy ourselves or to evolve ourselves. They'll give you the illusion, they'll give you the allowance to have your illusion life, to have indefinite life, or death. Okay? And so you have three choices. Most people want to live in their illusions. Let them. All right, I'm going to go because I don't know if I'm skipping, but you guys have a good day. All right, bye.